It makes sense where the reason we even got to chapter 4 was because she sent the message, but she didn't send the message until chapter 4. So how did it work? So it's a big loop inside of a game based around a loop. It's a big loop inside of a game about a loop, bro. You might have thought, like I did, that the storyline was kind of over with. It was kind of Donald Mustard left. But no, indeed. It's back. And it's better than before. If you guys didn't know, Dr. Sloan and Jones had teamed up at the very end of chapter 4, and they've started to plan something. We didn't know what they were planning, but we knew that they wanted to steal the time machine from Cato Thorne. And then Cato Thorne's all big and bad. He's got this giant time machine. He's a crazy guy, right? He's super cool, powerful. He's dead. Now we have his time machine. Let's go. So what are they going to do with this time machine? Let's see. The date on this time machine was set to Season 5, Chapter 1. Oh, that's very lucky. We're cool. We might get to go back to Chapter 1. Boom! Chapter 1 returns. And guess what? Sloan dialogues are here. But you want to know what it is? It's not a dialogue with you and me, like how we're talking right now, but it's a video. But you know, the thing about this is they are pre-recorded messages. They're not talking live. It's a pre-recorded messages that you play over in the challenge. Spoiler warning, I'm about to read 4 parts of them. There are tons of theories I have for them, and one of these theories being for the reason you clicked on this video, the butterfly effect. Sloan says, Jones, Sloan here. You know when and where you are, and that means you know what you have to do and what will happen on this side when you're done. Tomorrow you can take the time machine back, and tonight I'm recording this. Everything you will do will ripple effect toward this very moment. This might not even be the first time I've recorded this message. Do the job, Jones. It has to be done. Now, even reading this back, there's more I'm thinking about. This is Sloan all the way in, technically, the future of Chapter 4. So Chapter 4, you might think this is crazy, but I think that she's sending this to the original Jones, or Jones has gone back in time using the time machine and gone to Season 5, where he will play this message. She says, you know when and where you are, and that means you know what you have to do. That means he's placed there. He knows what he has to do. He's seen it. He's there. Oh, I have one obvious thing to do. And he knows what will happen whenever she's done, all the way on this side of Chapter 4. That whatever happens after he does this will be what happens in Chapter 4. Because of this ripple effect that'll happen. And she says this might not even be the first time I've recorded this message, which means that technically, if he messes it up, it'll just continue out to Chapter 4, and she'll record the message, sending it back to the new version of Jones, which is insane to think about. It's like, if he messes it up, it'll play out, she'll be in Chapter 4, and then send it again back to him, and if it messes up, it'll be in Chapter 4 again, and she'll send it back, because there's only one option we have to do. We don't know that option, but he has to change something properly. And if he messes it up, oh, she'll get to that point again and realize, oh, I've been here before, I think. I'm going to send it back to him again. Maybe he'll get it right this time. So it's very interesting. That was part 1. Part 2 says, Jones, Sloan here. I feel like I've done this before, so let's assume I have. Unless this is just deja vu. Alright, short version, you're back here for a reason and you're smart enough to figure it out. And it's not to change the future, by the way. Drop that fantasy right now. This is an extraction. You're leading the way. You cannot hesitate in your duty, Jones. The world you're leaving is one of many, and there are more worlds than you will even ever imagine. Keep it that way. Do the job. So we don't know what this job is yet, and I actually have a feeling that during this whole season we're going to figure out what this job is by seeing everything move around. And it's safe to assume that the version we're in right now is the version that he gets away. Sloan doesn't know what level we're on. She doesn't know how many times she's recorded these. She doesn't know how often he's lost. Like, he could have lost hundreds of times, but she would still end up at that point to send him the message back. And hopefully he'll do it right this time. I assume this is the time that he does it right, and that's why we're here. It's not to change the future, by the way. Drop that fantasy right now. This is an extraction. You're leading the way. So she is saying that you're leading the way to what will happen. She's not changing the future because that's not what they want. They want to take something from the past and put it in the future. An extraction. I don't know what that means. I don't know what they're taking. There's theories it could be the 0 point, which it could make sense. But if you take the 0 point from the past, would that affect the future? Because there would be no 0 point in the past, which means there would be no future because the 0 point causes the future to even happen. So I don't know what it is. We're going to read part 3. Jones, Sloan here. This is not my first message, is it? You must be making progress, or you're screwing everything up. If you somehow end up back in the now, I will destroy this reality out of spite. Not that that would stop you from somehow bumbling back into my orbit. There's a reason why it's always you and me, time and time again. One of these times we're gonna get it right, and I'm pretty sure this is it. So, basically, this is Sloan probably, I don't even know. It could be Sloan at the end of time, because it seems like this is Sloan talking from a perspective where she's met up with Jones after he's failed. Because, okay, so think about it as this. This is Sloan right now talking while Jones is standing right beside her because he got to her and didn't do the deed he had to do right. So he did it wrong. He got to the point where she was, so she decided to make a message again. And she said, if you somehow end up back in the now, I will destroy this reality out of spite. So basically, if you destroy this reality, it'll still work out. There's a possibility it'll still work out. So what if these Sloans aren't even the same ones? Like one Sloan in the part 1 is different than part 2 Sloan. Because imagine it's like Jones gets to the end time, sees Sloan, and that means he's messed it up. So they have to send another message back to a different version of Jones in a different timeline. And then he restarts and tries again. So part 4, the final one, says, Jones, Sloan here. I've definitely left this message many times before, so get right to it, huh? This is the first time in countless lifetimes that I don't know what happens next. We're both headed off into the unknown. I guess this is goodbye for me and that you. But we'll meet again. Reality's not done with us yet. Keep the campfires burning, Jones, wherever and whenever you go. This was big. She is saying goodbye to that Jones. Say, take Marvel for example. Loki could go find Loki in a different dimension, and there's 2 Lokis in the same scene, but they're from different worlds. It could be that situation. So that's what she's saying, me and that you. But here's the big thing. They're saying goodbye. If they're saying goodbye, that means that they've succeeded with their task. They've done what they needed to do, and they're having to say goodbye. Why are they saying goodbye? It's like they're in control of the universe at this point with whatever they've succeeded with. They have a time machine. They probably had the 0 point now. So what are they saying goodbye for? Sloan has been forgetting stuff. Jones has been forgetting stuff. What if they're in the loop, and that's why they can't remember? Every time, it's a different Sloan and it's a different Jones because they're in the loop. They don't remember the last Jones. They don't remember the last time they did this, but they're doing it again. You can see this also take place in the Season X with the scientist. He left himself messages so that way he could remember his task and what he has to do. Build the rocket, do whatever he did. Blow up the world, I don't know. But he did it. And he actually ties in the end of this video, the giant theory I have with it. So they're saying goodbye, which is very interesting. Why are they saying goodbye when they can basically control the universe? Canon to the Fortnite storyline, when you escape the loop, you don't remember your life before the loop. So what could be happening here is maybe they both did their task, but they've been in the loop, and they know how to escape the loop, and when they escape the loop, they know that they will forget everything that's happened. So they're saying goodbye. But what would happen if they forget everything that's happened? They wouldn't know about the IO, they wouldn't know about the 0 point, they wouldn't know about the loop. So they would forget all these memories they'd have. They'd forget all about the events, the time they've spent together, they've learned each other. They would forget all these nice moments, and they wouldn't have a reason to get back together and to do Fortnite. You know what I'm saying? It would be a new storyline because nobody would ever return like the IO and stuff. It would be a new version of the storyline. If this happens, personally, I'll be very excited because I want to see how Donald Mustard would have ended it if he did. And this might be it. This might be it. And how the scientist ties into all of this is, what if the scientist knew to write recordings to himself because of Jones and Sloan. Hear me out. Back in Season X, during these little tapes that the scientist left himself, you played it back, and he eventually said something about, if they are correct, blah, blah, blah. They. Who is they? Oh, he could be talking about his past self in these recordings, but no. They, what if it's Jones? What if it's Sloan? They told him this plan they had, and it led to Chapter 4. Hear me out. So we know we're living in the correct timeline because Sloan got to Chapter 4, knew to send a message back in time, and Sloan is going to complete it this time. This isn't the first time it's happened. All of Fortnite has probably happened multiple times where they started, they went, they got to this point, realized they had to send a message back using the time machine, and then it failed. They got back to this point and didn't remember it. It's a loop in a big loop where the time machine loops them basically, because you go back in time, you send the message, it goes out, it plays out, it didn't work the way they needed it to. And that's what's happened now up until this point where we're going to get here to Chapter 4 and it's going to work. We're going to send the message back, and this time Jones is going to learn and do it right. What if that happens? And the reason it happens is because he told the scientist to write the message to end the cycle, and then it led to Chapter 4, how it ended. It's a weird thing to think about. It doesn't work, but it makes sense where the reason we even got to Chapter 4 was because she sent the message, but she didn't send the message until Chapter 4, so how did it work? It's one of those weird little time loop situations. Jones is starting to affect the past, which will affect the future in a way. And we've lived throughout the whole thing, so are we living in the future that's been affected, or are we living in the future that hasn't been affected that we're about to change? We know when this happens, it's called a butterfly effect. The main Fortnite icon, basically, for the storyline is a butterfly. It's a rift, a butterfly. What if that was the perfect story for Donald Mustard? The butterfly effect. Every time that something happened in the Fortnite storyline, there was a butterfly if it was a really important event. What if that was an indication of the butterfly effect playing out? Because Sloan sent the message back to Jones, which eventually led to her sending the message to Jones, which worked. So it's a big loop inside of a game based around a loop. I don't know if this is making any sense. I don't know if you guys are catching on to this. I think it could work, and it would be a perfect stinking storyline if... Oh my goodness, bro. Because that's what it plays out as. Whatever happens, either way, this is a correct theory. It's not even a theory. It's basically true. Because we know that Dr. Sloan sends a message back to Jones. He changes the future, which causes Dr. Sloan to send a message back to Jones. It's a big loop inside of a game about a loop, bro. Okay, a mascot in Fortnite, obviously besides the llama, is a butterfly. The game is about a butterfly effect that causes a game to be a loop about a game being a loop. Let me know what you guys think. And I think it could be a sad goodbye where we'd never see the Fortnite storyline in this form again. Because they're saying goodbye, and if they never connect again, then we don't have anything. Let me know how you guys are thinking about it. Peace out. Use code PBJ, please.